Welcome, traders and investors, to the number one financial show in all of financial media. That would be the closing print with me, Joel Elconin, here on this Tuesday. I will be joined momentarily by Christian Fromhertz, founder and CEO of Tribeca Trade Group. Let's recap some of the action from today. Let's look forward to the close. We'll do more with that with Christian when he comes on and see what the market has in store for us. Leaning into two big reports after the close, Google and Microsoft. Street leaning long into both of them. We'll see if they're right or not. S&P index futures. I was wrong about the inside day. Let me send my apologies to you guys. We did take out the high from yesterday at 80.75. We went to 83.50, kind of sucked in the bulls like myself, flushed it down, took out the pre-market low. How much did we take out the pre-market low by? Two ticks. Couldn't get to that closing price of 41.75, and then the bulls came back with the vengeance. We are now up 35 handles at 42.76.75. We are within striking distance of the high of the day. If we get through the high of the day, and that's with a capital I don't know where we're going. My daily target on the upside would take us up to 06.75, but do you think if we take out, I don't know if we're taking out a high. One, if you take it out, put a one in the chat if you think we're taking out the high for today. And two, if you don't. Okay, we'll take it from there. All right, so there's the S&P futures. The Buck's having a good day. And that's usually bad for stocks, but going to a familiar area. We had a pair of highs here at the 106 area, higher 106s, and that's where we went to. 106 and a quarter had, or 106, kind of in the middle. Didn't quite get to yesterday's high. So still got some resistance building in the dollar. We have crude oil. Wait, the bonds are up a quarter point at 110 and 730 seconds. That's a good news. That could be a 2-day rally in the showing the crude. 2-day rally in the bond market. Holy mackerel. Actually, it's a 3-day rally. Never thought I'd see that. Crude, buck 79, lower, 83.70. Buy it now. Buy that crude oil now, because then you can make $17 when it goes to 100 tomorrow. Gold in the red by 450, just hanging up here near that critical $2,000 level, down 450. Silver, that's in the red by 12.5 cents. Above 23 though, at 23.08. Bitcoin futures pulling back, but still really good day, up 7.59%, $2,385 at 33,860. Leading the index on the upside of the top components, Eli Lilly, I guess the old Investors Business Daily Boost swing trade is what I'm hearing. Nice move in Lilly. Not quite yet to your 2-day high of 596.92. And your big loser for the second day in a row, following crude oil futures lower, is ExxonMobil. That's down 87 cents at 108.57. Man, bad news here from my hometown company, GM. It tried all it could to get, was positive on a day. This is a big range, but that second strike, a little bit too much here. GE cleared that resistance at 113.70. It held up a little bit in the morning, but not really. Good day for GE. Coca-Cola, that's a big move for Coca-Cola. Let's see. Did it get to the whole number? Yeah, it did. Big move for Coke. Let's see if it's bringing Pepsi along for the ride. Yeah, Pepsi up 241. Verizon, which we didn't cover, this got to be one of the best days in the history of Verizon. That's up 284. Man, that's a standard deviation move that will blow you away. RTX, we were hoping for a look at 80. Didn't quite get there, but up 509. Got there in the pre-market session, so you had to be picking on that thing in the pre-market. Real quick here, I saw Jay Rice popping some stocks. We did the RTX. We didn't do the Triple M. The Triple M up 470. I mean, well, that's a great move, but what do we got to look for in 3M? I mean, this thing is a dog with fleas and always disappoints investors. We got an area where it won't disappoint investors. You got multiple highs coming in here. 91 bucks. Make that a 4-star, folks. That's a big level for Triple M. Don't know about the report, nor dare I care. Netflix, NFLX, Netflix. Now, oh man, 614. I told the boys I want to talk about this. I guess they're bringing in some big guns for a new show on the NBA or something. Not that I'm going to watch it, but Netflix having a good day. And for the doubters that were looking for a gap fill here, no can do. Netflix, another move higher, probably buoyed by the stock index futures as well. CVX, someone's mentioned it here, get dragged down. Ooh, down another 280. The double whammy of lower crude oil and the street not liking this acquisition. But remember, folks, that's what ExxonMobil did for a couple days, and then it got a relief pop. Fading that relief pop in a big way here. Before we go to Christian, China on the move. I mean, come on, you want a global rally? There's China up 235. Chart still looks like nothing. Doesn't look good, but lower the move yesterday. Nice move today. They're talking about some fiscal stimulus out there. They gotta take one of our just a bunch of fiscal stimulus. You see what that does for the market. Great day for the FXI, and I know NEO's moving, so they're on the move. Up 48 cents on the NEO on the possible stimulus packages. I'm gonna boom boom. I'm going to stop the screen share. And Christian, are you wearing a red shirt again?
Orange.
Orange? Okay.
Yes, orange. Don't worry. Don't get all sensitive about Ohio State. Relax. It's orange. Maybe we'll Syracuse, but will that be okay? It's not Syracuse orange, but it's more of an October shirt.
Well, do you know that I have very few non-Michigan clothes, right? I mean, school clothes. And one of those happens to be I have 2 Syracuse shirts. I have a tie-dye one, and then I have, what's the other one? I can't remember. Oh, the other's, I wonder where that long sleeve is. I wonder if I lost it.
I like the tie-dye, what, like orange and blue?
A bunch of different colors. But
nice.
My youngest daughter went to Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. She got her master's in photojournalism from Syracuse.
Always seemed like a school, like it was a school that I didn't realize until I think it was like after college. I was like, hey, why didn't you go there? It seems like a pretty cool place. You're right by the Finger Lakes and so forth.
Did you go to Rutgers?
I went to Rutgers for my MBA, so graduate school. I went to Rutgers. Yeah.
Okay, so Christian, yes. I know you get to listen to the show a lot. Did you get to tune in today?
I did. I believe I did tune into. Yeah. I don't think I listened to the whole broadcast, but you guys had a good debate. I did hear that. Very good.
These guys are ganging up on me. Can you?
Yeah. I wanted to chime in. I was going to write something in, but I don't remember what it was. But you guys were just, Well, what I was going to say is, you guys are talking about the economy. And so forth. And, it is troublesome, to hear about, the credit card delinquencies and what else, the car loans and so forth. But the what I always come back to as well is that that the stock market is different than the economy. So yes, it is worrisome. And I think that there will be for the banks, who are going to have to deal with some of that. I haven't really wanted to be in the banks for a long time. Like I've always said, for probably like my blanket statement is, oh, if I have to buy a bank, it's going to be JP Morgan, but they're just too difficult. Anything that's too difficult, I don't, it's not worth my time. I don't need to figure
Okay.
that group out. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be worried about that group, then like, stay away from that area.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know that. But I'm glad. I kind of held my own there. So,
You did,
um,
and I was trying to figure out, are you what, like long term you're bullish, but
yeah,
short
yeah,
term,
yeah,
you're kind of, you change, right, with what, what's going on in the
yeah,
market. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not even. I mean, I'm not even like that, like uber bullish. It's just
Hmm.
that I just like to argue with people, and it take
Yeah.
a contrarian point of view. But for my strict technicals, like if I was sticking with my strict rules of technical analysis that
Yes.
I do every day, but I don't necessarily follow. Um, I You can't really get super bullish for the quarter until we get above 4,300. That's it, that's just my technicals. But I like to do feel. I like to do.
Hmm.
Well, blue got me charged up yesterday, and last thing, and then we'll move on to some stocks here.
Yeah.
And because I was using the unemployment, I'm like, how you having a recession with unemployment? And I think the one fundamental thing people don't get is that as a result of the pandemic, right? And as a result of the baby boomers, I'm a baby bust. I know everyone thinks I'm a baby boomer, but I'm a baby bust. There's a shortage in the workforce. There's
Right.
people that like COVID. They're like, I'm done, man. I'm not going back. I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna take my 401k and retire. And then the dynamics of COVID, and then the aging population, I think, is buoying the market. But
Very true. And
should we?
could I chime in with one? So here's the point
Yeah.
that I was going to make is also, we know what the Fed has been doing now, and everybody's focused on them, but you forget too, because what China announced today is that they're increasing their deficit, right? So it's not only like we're so conditioned to think about monetary policy, but there's also fiscal policy, and that's another reason too, where I don't think it's made proper sense too with the economy, because they're still like fiscally, they're still increasing. Like there's no decrease of the balance sheet. There's no, sorry, not the balance sheet, but debt and so forth. That's still going up. So they're still stimulating in terms of and fiscally. So without getting into politics too, but you don't have the same. You don't have the Treasury and the Fed on the same page. So that's my viewpoint anyway. So we can go on to stocks, but I thought that's been one of the most interesting things that nobody's talking about, is that fiscally they're still expanding.
Mhm. You're right. You're right on that. Okay, so what's catching your eye today?
Well, here, can I
You
do
can
the old
drive.
share the
Yep.
screen?
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
see.
Because my charts are too simple. People like your fancy
No, no, no.
Deepak and
Simple's good. Simple's good. Let me just move this over. All right. So yeah, I'm looking at the cues. I mean, I've been paying a lot of attention to the cues lately. I'm watching to see if they can, they're kind of hanging on here by a thread, and I want to see some movement. I also have like I refer to the kind of the moving averages as a little bit of like training wheels. I like to see price get at least back above like the short-term 5-period moving average, just as a confirmation that the trend is changing. So I'm also looking at on my screen, I've got what's called value areas, and I look at volume at price. So I really want to see a move above basically 360 in the cues. That would get me a little bit more, I would feel a little bit more better about this market, right? And everybody seems like they want to buy the dip right now because the seasonality is strong, but I got to have the price action confirm that for me. So, of course, we've got a big week of earnings this week. Right after the close, we got Google and Microsoft. So, I thought that we could kind of talk a little bit about them and the implied move, and what the history of those two names are to kind of start with.
okay.
So we got, so the first one, I think is the lesser of the two exciting names, which is Microsoft. Don't forget Microsoft. Let me just bring this up here properly. Microsoft um, gives their guidance in the earnings call today. So don't get thrown off by the first move with Microsoft, because sometimes a bigger move happens
You got your
once.
Slack up there.
What do I have? So, yeah,
Okay.
you should be able to see this, right? So
Yeah,
this is
I
just
got it now. Yep.
so this is just the history of Microsoft. It's not a big mover on earnings, and it's good to just look at the history, I think. But I think out of the last 10 quarters, Microsoft has gone up 5 and gone down 5. So it's not a huge like alpha type name. It's a slow grinder of a move. So last quarter they were down about 3.7%. The quarter before that they were up 7%. Oh, by the way, nice call out on Verizon. I've never seen Verizon move like that either on earnings. I think that's the biggest move for Verizon in like over 10 years. But in any event, so that's what we have for Microsoft. I think overall, like the chart in Microsoft, and they're only implying about a 4% move. So it's really hasn't done much. It's kind of been, which is always my point with earnings, that if a name doesn't really have a standout quarter, it's kind of dead money for the quarter. And that's what Microsoft has basically been. Even though people love to cherry pick numbers and they say, oh, well, Microsoft is up so much year to date. It is. But okay, look at the last quarter. It's basically just gone sideways. It hasn't really done much because their quarter wasn't great. And that's often what you'll find. But let's see if Microsoft can basically break 338. I don't
Okay.
have a trade on. But go ahead.
No. I was just looking at the Microsoft chart. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's
mean
it's
to
pretty
interrupt you.
sideways, right? Over the last month. I mean, there's been some dips to buy, and as your colleague likes to sell the rip, they've been able to sell the rip a couple times over there too. But it's been pretty sideways. Google has been the outperformer because it had good earnings. It gapped up on earnings, and it's been methodically making some progress. And I think this is one that I decided to play. But Google doesn't move too much on earnings either. The implied move is about 5%. It has a little bit better history, and I always look at this column over here. That's what the price does on earnings, or the next day after earnings. And Google has gone up 6 out of the last 10 times. But again, it's not a huge move. You look at I always weight the last quarters a little bit more than like the ones further. And last quarter it did very well. It was up 5.8%. And 3 quarters, it went down 3 quarters prior to that. But I think Google has a chance to rally a little bit. The weekly chart, it's going to have to get over a little bit of an obstacle there at 141.80. But I put on a call spread for this just to have some skin in the game
Okay.
for Google, because I think with YouTube, I think more people are using some of their their spreadsheets and so forth, like their suite of application, possibly a little bit more than Microsoft. So that's what I'm looking for. But I think it's probably a little bit crowded too. A lot of people are expecting that. But what are your thoughts? Do you have a preference?
You know what? I was just thinking, like the bullish, thesis that I presented this morning, could easily be squashed by, either of these two companies here. But I like Google, and I've liked the price pattern. I've liked I like the earnings, but I just think they just got a monster in YouTube. For
Yeah.
what they paid for that, and then this NFL ticket. I mean, if that didn't, I wouldn't be short into the report. Maybe that's the way to do it, but I just think that YouTube is just. I mean, I know it's a small part of their business, and and everyone talks about search and Microsoft going after the chat with Chat GPT. I mean, how do you search? Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
I talked to Siri,
I'm not
and
using Bing.
you do
I'm not using Bing. Yeah. It just feels like they have a lot of levers to pull. And the other thing is, like I said, I don't mind having some skin in the game for earnings, but really if they dip, I want to be a buyer of dips in this. And, if it comes down to something that they miss on some metric or
Mhm.
something that some analyst has, and the stock goes down a little bit, that would probably entice me to buy the dip a little bit.
Okay.
Again, it's one of those names, and I don't want to jinx it in terms of a big, having a big move, but it these names, both of them, don't really move that much. So, this is a I don't know what's going on with my internet, but I think we're going to get many more interesting reports too this week.
Okay. All right. Any other particular ones that you're going to be focusing on?
Basically what I try to do for earnings, and it's funny because I know it's been a quarter, I think, since I started coming on your closing print. So thank you very much for having me. But I think last time, what I basically like to do is just listen to what the results are, because as I just mentioned, like, Microsoft, which didn't have a wonderful quarter, these names can become dead money for the next quarter. And
Okay.
if there's some surprises, then they could really be good trading opportunities for the next quarter. And that's really what I look to focus on, is what names are going to be your outperformers, are going to provide some trading opportunities for the next quarter.
All right, and just before I let you go, just going back to the China thing, and you brought that up my attention.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, these things are, and this sticks in my mind. Actually, I was talking to somebody about it today about technical analysis, and your
Mhm.
discipline and sticking to like the 200-day moving average. Well, you kind of feel like something like Baba's like never going to go back to its 200-day moving average. So is that just, I mean, do you have any kind of, technical setups, or do you feel like you're just, you're deviating from your norm when you try and do things like that and go away from your bread and butter?
Yeah, so it all depends on my time frame. If I'm going to if I like a company, if I think the company is good long term, even though Baba's a really sideways chart, like that's okay. Like for your IRA or something like that, where you're not going to watch it every day, I don't mind going after something like that. But for my trading account, yeah, I'm looking for names that are acting better than this.
Okay.
But it is basing. I mean, I think at this point you want to look at a weekly chart for Bob, and maybe keep it on your radar. It might be even like a stock for next year. What I'm already starting to kind of look at how the value area is shaping up for next year, and if this continues to base, for another 3 months, 6 months, it may provide a really good trading opportunity then, because maybe the bottom might be in, and that helps to kind of look at the weekly chart. So I think it just needs more time. Other
Okay.
faster movers right now are names like PDD. There's another one that I just started watching that I don't know much about, and these are higher risk, but this MNSO, Miniso, I guess they make furniture in China or something.
They
It's
do.
really tough to get a lot of information on these names. And maybe even if you do have the information, you don't know if it's accurate. But, these are more momentum type names. But this is a good looking stock, this MNSO.
Christian Fromhertz, founder and CEO of Tribeca Trade Group, here on Tribeca Tuesdays. How do you like that? We
I
coined that
like it.
name.
Love it. Love it.
I
Tribeca
stole it. I
Tuesdays.
stole it from someone in the chat. As always, I
Perfect.
love your technical and fundamental analysis. Just top notch on Wall Street. Thanks for joining us here on the closing print.
Thanks, Joel. Pleasure as always.
Okay, I'm gonna go right to my charts here because I know you guys don't want to see my mug here. Did we go back? Did we go to the survey about making a new high for this session? And I did take a look at it. It looks like we're going to come up a little bit short here, folks. Coming into the closing stanza, the current high, 42.8350. That nestles in nicely with the high from yesterday, right? And so you got a good level to keep an eye on overnight with these explosive earnings coming out after the close today. The thinker is Kohl's, man. I mean, Kohl's is not a bad store. I went in there the other day. I didn't buy anything, of course, but man, what a nice run. And what you got to look at here, I mean, you had to move from 18 to 21, and then a little bit of consolidation. Another 3-point move for 2042 would take you to 2342. Not saying that I'm a Coles a bull, but man, that's a nice move after a big move up and a consolidation. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Macy's, that's doing okay. Costco's a little bit different animal. Oh, that monthly kind of scares me in that. Let's just do quick technicals here on the big boys that are reporting. Microsoft up $1.82 today. Boom. I mean, this is it is gonna be a decent sized mover. I keep an eye on this. It's not far away, and I'm sure it's not within the expected move, but multiple highs here at the 336, 337 area. So if you get a pop there, you're looking to lighten up. On the downside here, they're not perfect. Microsoft is just not one of these perfect stocks as far as giving you the double, triple bottoms. It's more, I have to be more of a ranger. And that ranger would tell me that like this 324 area. So let's go wide. Let's go 324. Let's go to 337. So those could be some potential levels. Goog. I do the Goog without the L because I don't like typing that extra L in there. Google, nice move. What we're just going to be keeping an eye on is like practically a triple top here at the 142 area. Actual high of the move, 142.38. The high close of the move, 141.70. And you're stacking up against a couple monthly highs here. So don't get too faked out. If we go higher, 144 is major monthly resistance. Now we know in a thin after hours earnings report, you can always get through that. On the downside, man, there just seems to be underneath demand here. And I could get interested in this thing at 134.5, 35. So that's for Microsoft and Google also coming out after the bell, and you got to be shaking in your boots if you're a Visa holder. Man, that thing got shellacked off the AXP earnings. So we'll see how the street reacts to that one. Now, AXP did trade higher and did do an undercut rally the next day. But if you're taking a look at the letter V, boom. It's probably a pretty good mover. No multiple highs in the same area until you get to the 241 area. And then really no multiple lows in the same area until you get to the 228 area. So that's what you're looking at Visa. Snap, I've seen Snap move this market, folks. Don't sleep on Snap here at all. Snap, chat, pressing up, bulls a little bit long, going into the report. Nothing here at $10. Never has a stop there since September. My area of interest on a pop here, and this thing can move. Let's call it 1060. You had a high at 1070, but that's only one high at that area. Boom, only one high. So not a great number. Snap on a dip. I had a dip, 830, $10, about a 2-point move, $9, 910, 890. 910. Okay, folks. Well, we are not going to have an inside day as called here this morning, and we're not going to close on the highs of the session. That's okay. Much closer to the highs than the lows. We'll see what these big reports come out. Leaning a little bit lower into the close. See if we can get into 42.70 handle. I call that closing print 42.70 for the lack of knowing what the actual print is until I figure out the 1 minute average or 1 minute VWAP. Spillbuyer LP, thank you. I enjoyed that with Blue yesterday, and we'll see what happens with these big reports. Joel Elconin signing out on the closing print.